back here again for our video, and in this video I'm going to be giving my thoughts on the new Halloween movie. I saw the movie last night, and I was originally going to do this video right after I saw it, but I wanted to wait and just get my thoughts in order about it, because, I had a lot of thoughts about it, I had a lot of things I want to say about it, and I wanted to wait until I got my thoughts in order before I did this video. Now, personally, I really enjoyed this movie, but it has its flaws. First off, I just want to say this is one movie that I've seen a lot of people are really split about. I've seen some people say they absolutely love this movie, I've seen some people say they absolutely hate it, and I've seen some people that are kind of mixed about it. I'm mixed about it, but I'm more towards loving it than I am just sort of liking it. I really did enjoy this movie. But I know there's a lot of things about it that I didn't like. There's a lot of things about it that I know other Halloween fans or other horror fans are not going to like. But there's a lot of things about it that I think people are going to like. Now, I'm not going to talk about any specific scene. I'm not even going to talk about the plot of the movie. If you want to know the plot, you can always look it up. I'm sure every horror fan that knows about this movie or knows about the Halloween franchise, they know the plot of this movie. So I don't really feel the need to talk about the plot. And I'm not going to talk about any specific scene because I don't want to give anything away about it. But I will say that I really enjoyed this movie. And I do think that by my second viewing, I do think I might enjoy it more. But I do want to talk a little bit about the things I didn't like. One thing about it I didn't like was there was a lot of jokes in this movie. Now, I know that Danny McBride, he wrote some of the film, and I know that he's known as comedy. He's known as, for his comedy roles. He's a comedic actor. And I know when it was announced that he was going to be writing the film, a lot of people were skeptical because they figured, well, he's just into comedies. He's just a comedic actor. How is he going to be able to write a horror movie? Well, just because you're known for one type of film, like he's known for comedies, just because you're known for one type of film doesn't mean you can't cross over and do well in another type of film. Like, for instance, he's in a lot of comedic roles, so just because he's known for being in comedic roles and acting doesn't mean that he can't write a horror movie. And I do think that he did well, but I do think that there were a lot of jokes in the film and a lot of scenes that you're meant to laugh at that weren't necessarily funny, and to be honest, they kind of took me out of the movie. There are a lot of scenes that are meant for humor. There's also some scenes in the movie that weren't meant to be laughed at that people were actually laughing at. Like when I went to go see it, there was a lot of people in the theater, and there were people that were laughing out loud at scenes that weren't meant to be laughed at, which isn't good. For a Halloween movie, it isn't good. There are some characters that are just there for like comic relief. Like there's one little boy in the movie, he's just this little kid and he swears and stuff like that. He's, there for comic relief. But he kind of took me a little bit out of the movie, I think, and I don't think that those scenes were necessary. Now this movie is a great tribute to the original franchise. There's a lot of references that go back to the original series. Like, for instance, in the trailer, there's a scene of a group of kids wearing the silver shamrock masks, the jack-o'-lantern, the skeleton, and the witch. That's a great scene. There's also a scene where a character walks by some clothes hanging on a clothesline, which is a great shout out to, of course, the one scene when Laurie looks out her window and sees Michael standing there. So I love those scenes. I thought that they were great. So this movie is, you can tell they tried to make it for Halloween fans, but there were also some scenes that you could tell that they tried to make the movie more for anyone who wanted to see it, other than just Halloween fans. This movie is not necessarily a film made just for Halloween fans. It's made for anybody that wants to see it. And I think that a lot of people were expecting it to be like a straightforward, for Halloween fans type movie, and it's not. It's a movie that I think anyone can go see, even if you're not familiar with the franchise. You can just watch the first movie and then go see this one. I'm not going to go into detail about certain scenes that stood out to me where you could tell that they were trying to appeal to a certain audience or to a certain person in that particular scene, but overall, I thought that the movie is good for anyone. I think that anybody, any horror fan can go see it and can get enjoyment out of this. Now, Jamie Lee Curtis's performance is great in this movie. I know in Halloween H2O, I always felt that even though she is playing Laurie, I always felt that Jamie Lee Curtis, she seems more like an older Jamie Lee Curtis in Halloween H2O. She didn't really seem as much like Laurie. Like, I kind of felt like, I mean, I love H2O. It's one of my favorites in the franchise, but I always felt like I didn't really think that Laurie would grow up to sort of be the way that she is in H2O. In this one, she felt like an older Laurie Strode. She's kind of beaten down. She's terrified of, what, happened to her 40 years ago, and she's been preparing for Michael. And I felt like that her performance in this film was more realistic as a older portrayal of Laurie Strode, instead of feeling like an older portrayal of, it was like Jamie Lee Curtis was playing an older portrayal of Laurie Strode instead of Jamie Lee Curtis playing an older version of Jamie Lee Curtis, but she was also playing Laurie. I hope I'm making sense. I thought that her performance was more realistic as an older version of Laurie Strode in this one than in H2O. So I wanted to clear that up, but her performance was great. Everyone else's was pretty decent. The daughter was good, and the granddaughter was really good as well. As for the rest, it's a slasher movie, so you can kind of tell who's going to live and who's going to die. And there are a lot of extra characters in the movie that are just there to eventually be killed. And so I know there's a lot of people that are complaining about weak character development, but the thing was, you can tell who's going to die in this movie. You can tell, like, when a character comes on, it's like, alright, he's most likely going to die, or she's most likely going to die. So I feel like putting character development and then have it go on, I mean, it could have worked better. There were some characters that I think if you put more development into them, then I think that when they died, you could have sympathized with them more. And then there's some people that are just like, alright, he's gonna die. You know what I mean? So I think for some characters, I would have liked to have seen more character development, whereas other characters, I was just kind of like, whatever. I've also heard a lot of people talk about the script of the movie. There are some lines in this movie that are kind of bad. I think it could have been scripted a whole lot better. There were some lines that were just kind of like the dad in the film. The guy that Laurie's daughter is married to. He makes some dad jokes at the beginning of the movie, and they're kind of not funny, and they're kind of, I mean, of course they're dad jokes, they're not supposed to be funny, but there was one scene where he drops like peanut butter on his pants, and he goes, "Oh, I got peanut butter on my penis." For some reason he says that. I don't know why. Instead of saying I got peanut butter on my pants, he says on my penis, and I thought that was kind of like, what? There were some scenes like that was kind of like, meh. But overall, guys, I really did enjoy this movie, and I would recommend seeing it, but I can't flat out say you should go see this. Because, like I said, there's a lot of people that are not liking this movie, and there's a lot of people that are liking it. So, in my opinion, if you think you're going to like it, I'd say check it out. If you don't think you're going to like it, then don't. But, I still say that every Halloween fan should see this at least once. If you don't want to see it in the theaters, wait for it to come on Blu-ray or wait for it to come on Netflix. Because there are some really amazing moments in this movie. There's some great moments in this movie. And there's some moments in this film that I think top some of the sequels. I just don't think it's a great movie overall, but I still really enjoyed it. So, if you think you'll enjoy it, go check it out. If not, then not. But I do think you should still give it a chance. Even if every review you've seen is bad, still give it a chance. It's just up to you. If you want to wait until it comes to Netflix, wait till then, or Blu-ray or whatever. Well, anyway, guys, that is just my thoughts on a new Halloween movie. Like I said, I really enjoyed it, but I know a lot of people don't, so I really can't say go see it. I really can't say that. But I will say if you're a Halloween fan, at least see it sometime in your life. and then decide for yourself, because there's a lot of people that are just watching reviews on YouTube. I know there's going to be some people who are going to watch my review and take my word for it and go see it, and they might not like it. I think everybody should see it and decide for themselves whether or not they think it's a good movie or not. But, it's up to you. So, anyway, guys, those are just my thoughts on the new Halloween movie. If you've seen it, let me know down below in the comments if you have. But just don't talk a whole lot about it. I know there's a lot of people on YouTube that are trying to spoil this movie, which I think is wrong and is stupid, because the only reason why they're doing it is to just take the fun out of it for people. And so I'm going to be keeping an eye on the comments on this video. And if I see any spoilers, then you will be banned, and I will block you from my channel, because I think it's wrong to share spoilers like that for